Welcome to the next tutorial in Python programming with Linux. So in this tutorial I'll be teaching you how to install this Linux 17.1 Cinnamon, which is 64-bit in your VMware workstation. So once you have this, if you have VMware player, you can just go ahead and select File, New Virtual Machine, and you can I don't recommend using the typical because we would be customizing it as per our need, and I'll use custom advanced. Next, if you're using the latest version, you will have workstation 11 or something like that. I'm using the 9th version. So next, you can still use this, but still if you use this, there will be some kind of errors unless you have the serial key and all those stuff, and I don't recommend this because this is mostly used for installing the Windows version, which is the actual version. That's the reason. So I'll be using this version and I'll install the operating system later. Next, and since we are using Linux, it will be Linux, and I won't be using the CentOS. Let me check if we have Linux Mint. No, we don't have Linux Mint, I think. No. So I'll be using Ubuntu 64-bit, and I'll be doing next. And you can go ahead and browse over here. Where do you want to save? I'll just go ahead and let's say I'll save it over here in my own folder. Okay. And the name I want would be, since this is Linux Mint Cinnamon, I'll be using Linux Mint 17.1 Cinnamon. I believe the spelling is right. Perfect. And 64-bit. Perfect. And I'll be doing next. And the number of processors if you have a good PC, you can go ahead and use 2. I don't recommend using more than 2 because it will actually lag the remaining of your actual PC. So I'll be using 2 and 2. I'll do next. RAM 1 GB is more than enough for that since it's Linux NAT. And if you don't want your Linux distribution to access to internet, you can go ahead and do not use a network connection. I'm using a NAT address that will make the IP address of your computer as well as your workstation the same, and it will allow access to your VMware workstation to go ahead and access the internet. Next, let's logic. Next, create a new virtual disk. SCSI recommended, and 20 GB would be the amount that I would be giving it to my Linux. Next, and where do I want to save this file? I will again save this in my own file over here. Next, so you can check if everything's perfect over here. In workstation, the place where it's located, name, it's 64-bit, 20 GB split, 1 GB RAM, 4 CPU cores. Perfect. I'll do finish. So once you do it, you have this over here. You can, if you have mistakenly delete this, you can just go ahead and select it over here. It will start. So before I start, I need to make sure that we use this ISO file that we have downloaded. Okay. I'll just go ahead and close this one, and I'll go ahead and new folder. I'll use Linux Mint 17.1, and I'll move all of these things except this over here, and not found. Just open that, just ignore this thing. I'll just, okay, perfect. Okay, so I can just go ahead and use settings, and before I go ahead and install, I need to change using the physical CD-ROM. Instead of that, I'll be using the ISO file, browse, and you can just go ahead and select all files. Only then will you be able to see it over here. So I have it over here, the downloaded file that I just downloaded. I will click open, and okay, perfect. And now I'll use the power on this virtual machine, and I have it over here. So I'll just run this. You can see that this is how it looks like. It's showing me that it can use the camera. I don't want. Okay, it will be automatically booting in 5 seconds. So when you go and see, you can see over here start Linux Mint, compatibility mode, boot from local drive, but since we have not installed, I'll be using start Linux Mint. and it will take quite a few minutes to go and install. And by the time it starts, it will take a minute or so to start. So by that time I'll teach you that in case you don't have Python, you can go and download Python from 2.7, and you can just go over here on this website, Python's specific website. You can download these files from over here. I don't think that you actually would need to go ahead and download this file, but until unless it depends upon everything, that's the reason. So you can just download it over here, or the tar file if you have Linux or Unix. So I'll just close this one. So it will take a minute or so to boot it. So you can see over here it has booted. So I will just go ahead and do full screen over here, and in case you want to get out from the full screen mode, you can just press Ctrl Alt, and you can just click over here. So fine, just want the full screen mode, and once I am here, I'll just go ahead and configure it to my screen. So I'll just go ahead and select over here display. Where's display over here? I'll use 16:9. I don't have much, so I'll use this one. Perfect. Keep this configuration. And let me check if I can just go ahead and auto hide that. Exclusive mode. Okay, enter exclusive mode. So you can see that it's almost similar to having using the same thing. That means, so let's check our installation is complete over here. So I'll just close this terminal, and I'll just go ahead and type continue testing till the time I restart. So as you can see that we have a menu over here which is almost similar to Windows. We even have a terminal over here. You can just type anything. You can type who am I to go ahead and check what was the name of the user. You can type Python. Let's see if we have already the Python version in our system. Yeah, we have it, and this is the Python interpreter. So let's go ahead and restart our computer. So that this is log out, quit, and let's restart our version so that we can go ahead and work with our actual distribution rather than using the VMware version. So before I proceed and let you know that how exactly we work, okay, so it's asking me to go ahead and remove the system tray. So I'll just go ahead and select over here settings, CD, and I'll just go ahead and remove this since I won't be needing this anymore. Okay, I'll just go ahead and hit enter over here, and I'll go ahead and select, since I won't be needing CD-ROM. Perfect. Or rather than that, I'll just go ahead and remove the CD-ROM version. I'll just remove it. Okay, I need to turn that off. So before I proceed with actually going ahead and letting you know what this is all about, you can see that last time I used the test username, so I have it over here. You can type, let's say the password I used was abcd@123. Okay, so wait, it's asking me the name, test user, and name would be abcd@123. It will take quite a time for it to load. So before I proceed, if you're a system administrator, it is likely that you have encountered Perl or Bash or KSH or some other scripting language. You may even have used one or more yourself. Scripting languages are often used to do repetitive, tedious work at a rate and with an accuracy that far surpasses what you could accomplish with them. All languages are tools. You're simply meant to get the work done. So Python is also a valuable tool which is almost similar to that. So I'll just go and delete that. I will first change the resolution. Let me check if I could go ahead and change the resolution without installing the VMware tools. Okay, I have it over here. Let's check if this works. Perfect. Keep this configuration. Apply. Keep this configuration. Perfect. Perfect. So this is what our system will look like once we have installed. So now the question comes is, let me first go ahead and start. To start the Python, you can just go to the terminal and type Python. And here you have the Python interpreter. So The first question is, you might be having that, is Python better than Perl, Bash, Ruby or any other language? It's really difficult to put that sort of qualitative label on a programming language, since the tool is closely tied to the thought process of the programmer who's using it. Programming is subjectively deep personal activity. For the language to be excellent, it must fit the person using it. So you're not going to argue, we are not going to argue over here whether Python is better. The question over here is, do you find Python useful to go and actually create some softwares or create more security than other people? The first reason why we think of Python is that it's excellent and easy to learn, and that is the reason why I will be teaching you Python today. So that's it for this tutorial. In the next tutorial I'll be actually starting with how we can go and use Python for our system security purposes.